Wake up, wake up.
I'm up. Honey, what's up?
Come on, let's do this podcast.
All right, what's the topic today?
I don't know. Yo, what up, world? This is your boy Ab and my beautiful, beautiful wife, co-host,
Dana.
best friend, mother of my children. Okay, so we back in the building with podcast number 6. And, we wanted to come back to you guys. And so we don't take such a long hiatus to keep everybody in the know and keep everybody relevant with Two Woke Podcasts. And also because we got some things that we wanted to talk about that we didn't want it to lose any type of steam, because a lot of these issues are taking the forefront in the media right now. We wanted to talk about suicide. And did I introduce you, baby?
Yeah.
Are you there?
It was real quick, but it's fine.
Okay, my bad. So anyway, we want to talk about suicide. It's a subject that's not supposed to be taken lightly. This is, a serious topic that, is plaguing, all walks of life in this country, all ages, ethnicities. And so it's something that we wanted to discuss. And, the reason why I wanted to bring it up initially was because, there's a few incidents that took place in the media this week. Mm-hmm. That's been everywhere, and like people are getting caught up in the things that are taking place. But I think a lot of people are not, scratching. They're just scratching the surface. Like they're not getting down to the real cause of these issues. And I think a lot of it's mental health.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well,
depression.
If you heard the guy who killed the old man, I forget his name.
She's talking about the dude on Facebook. For everybody
Facebook
out
Live.
there, that did the Facebook Live murder.
He did mention that he spoke to his mother about what he was going through, and his mother kind of just, shooed him away and kind of downplayed his situation. So he did mention that. So I feel like that's really important. If someone is coming to you for help, then, it's important for you to be there for that person. And, as a mother, I feel like in a way, she is to blame because he came to you.
Well, but we don't know what his plea was though when he came to her. Like what, you know what I mean? We don't know what
he said. This is what I'm trying to say. He said that he came to his mother and told him about, his relationship and how he was thinking of killing himself. That was his words. He was thinking of killing himself. And, his mother just, I guess, didn't take him seriously.
Wow. Well, that's a sad situation.
Did we get his name?
Yeah, by the way, his name is Steve Stevens. And so this is a gentleman who supposedly, they have video of him killing an older gentleman, and saying that the cause of it or the motivation behind it was because of a botched up relationship with his ex, supposedly, right?
Yes.
And so, and then I hear, a lot of people talking about these conspiracy theories and things of that nature. But regardless of what actually took place, and so actually he did end up shooting himself, baby. That's what they're saying here. So he ended up shooting himself at the end and killing himself.
After the cops came, though.
Yeah. And so that's why we wanted to discuss this suicide thing. That, in addition to Aaron Hernandez from the New England Patriots,
and there's these young boys killing themselves over girls, and it's just, I know a lot of people have been watching the 13 Reasons.
Yeah.
With the girl killing herself
on Netflix.
Yeah, it's this. Obviously, this has been going on for a really long time, but we're starting to hear about it more often lately, and this is a topic that we wanted to discuss just to gain awareness. If someone's coming to you for help, please, help them as much as you can. Be there for them. Listen and see what you can do to help. I feel like you can't just
turn a blind eye to it,
right.
Man. It's just not the right approach. I mean, these type of issues that it's really hard. It's really hard to tell someone, what to do, when somebody comes to you, because you don't know the depth of what they're dealing with. So, say for instance, I came to you with an issue. I'm not saying me per se, but someone came to you with an issue, and they said, I just can't take it. I'm stressed out. This job is just getting on my nerves. And so you open your heart and say, you give me some advice to do about the job. But you don't know that what I'm speaking to you about in regards to that job is just the tip of the iceberg. You understand what I'm trying to say? I have so much more that I'm dealing with, that I'm at that point, and you're trying to help me resolve the issue with my job, and I take that advice and I move and I leave, and I end up committing suicide. And there's nothing you could have did to stop that, only because you don't know the depth of what I'm going through. The issue that I brought to your attention. You understand what I'm trying to say? And I think a lot of times, even with mental health professionals, if you have somebody that comes to your office that's seeking advice, the person helping you can the person helping you can only help you based off of what they know.
I know, but
what you tell them.
I feel like it's key words that people actually come to you about. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't think I can live like this.
Yeah,
like there's key words that you need to pick up on to know that someone's actually like being pushed to that point.
I agree. But there's sometimes those keywords won't come up. People, they won't address it using keywords like that. You feel what I'm saying? Like this individual, for instance, who did this murder on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like when he approaches
mother.
His mother, we don't know. He mentioned that he wanted to kill himself.
Yes, he
was
mentioned
this
that.
the same day, or was prior to this event?
I'm not sure if it was the same day or not, but he mentioned it. It doesn't matter when it was, but he did mention to his mother that he wanted to kill himself. He wanted to commit suicide.
But you also is like, even though like you may know this person has problems or even thinking about committing suicide, but how do you help him? How do you help him?
It's just a conversation. I feel like people who want to commit suicide, they don't feel like they have anyone to talk to about the situation who will understand and help them cope with and get over certain situations. They think they're alone and having to go through these things by themselves. And I feel like that's kind of how they're put to the edge, because they don't feel like they can't come to anyone to talk about it. Like, with these little boys killing themselves, it's like, how present are the parents in their lives? Like, if you know your kid is acting strange, that's a sign. Like, all these things are signs.
Yeah, but
like, we get so consumed about like what we're going through as adults that we're miss.
But I think a lot of it that's the problem though.
What?
So say for instance you have
What's the problem?
The adults, because if you have a young child, right? If you have a young child who ends up committing suicide, taking his life, and because of issues that he's dealing with, is a great chance. I want to say 95% of the time, the issue he's dealing with as a young child is coming from his household.
Yeah,
right or wrong.
I always believe that.
So at the end of the day, how can a parent look at the child and say, "Oh my God, he's dealing with the issue," when they're the direct cause of that issue? So it's hard for them to see. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard for them to see their part, the role that they're playing in it. So how can they be in any position to help that child? You feel what I'm saying? So like it's like the abuser helping the abused. You understand what I'm trying to say? It's hard for them to see that they're even doing wrong, even though they know it might not be good. But it's like hard to see themselves in that situation. So like the only outlet for that child is somebody else outside of that environment who would notice it. And that's where the problem comes in. Like you said, having that child going to somebody else, a stranger or somebody outside of the home to reach out to for help. And a lot of times, as kids, they process things differently, so they internalize things. They don't want to talk about it. They feel ashamed about it, or they're fearful that if they tell somebody else that their parent will come down on them, and it might be another form of abuse. You understand what I'm trying to say? So all of these things, it's hard to just sit there and blanket the issue and say, well, we need to help these kids who need help. We don't know that they need help, and then when we find out they need help, how do we actually help them? Like, it's a process that I think it's a multi-level process. It's not just one thing. So they can talk to people like they're blue in the face, because I've dealt with personal issues that I've had individuals that I know personally who are younger than me who committed suicide. It was a client of mine. You feel what I'm saying? And I talked to him. I knew this young kid for over 5-6 years. I spoke to him on a weekly basis. Like, I would have never had thought that. Like, these are the type of things.
Well,
now listen.
Now, when he used to come to you, did he have like any serious issues that he was coming to you about? And then, like, y'all just discuss stuff. Like, you just discuss certain.
Over a period of 5 to 6 years, we discussed a little bit of everything, from relationships to jobs to money to music to girl, like every little thing you can think of, I probably discussed with him. But it's never been anything to say that I would have picked it out. You feel what I'm saying? So ultimately,
I don't know, I'm good at
now listen. I'm that's what I'm trying to explain to you, babe. Like, I'm telling you how he came to me. He was a quiet kid. He was very quiet. He's very reserved to himself. You understand what I'm trying to say? So, in hindsight, I can sit there and be like, yeah, well, he was kind of reserved and to himself and very quiet. But there's a lot of quiet kids out here. I was a quiet kid. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like that's not an indication of anything, is what I'm trying to say. You feel what I'm saying? So, like, as much as I'm talking about, even in hindsight, me looking back, I still would have never put it together. Because, and the only reason I say that is because, and I'm sure it's like this with a lot of situations or young children, where they're not going to put it out there like that. That's something that is stigmatized.
Well, I remember when this girl, like back in the MySpace days, this girl committed suicide, and it's funny. After the act is committed, that's when everyone's like, yeah, like, because she was acting like this and she was saying this, so you know what I'm saying? Like, there are always signs.
Yeah, but it's easier to see the signs after it took place. But what about before it took place? Those signs are not enough to make you stop the presses and say, oh, hold on, this person needs help. They're not enough. But after they've done it, yeah, now it makes sense.
They're not enough because there's a void in them that's not giving them what they need. Like, for instance, for this girl, like, I sensed that something was wrong with her. And we were only like MySpace friends. Like, we weren't that close, but we would talk. So when she would post something and she would say something like kind of like weird and out of the ordinary, we would like go back and forth about it. And her real issue was not having like finding true love at her age. She had 2 young boys, and she was really just going through like a really depressive state of not being able to find a man and get married and stuff. So that was her main issue. And, excuse me, I remember, like, her being so happy one week because she found someone. And then literally the next week, like, she wasn't posting a lot. And she wasn't posting about her new friends. And then, like, literally died within days. So, I mean, it's a pattern that I think what's important too is to pay attention to people that's around you. Pay attention to their actions. pay attention to, how they talk to you and so forth and so on.
So yeah, and I agree, but I think one of the most important things are to be able to create a support system. And when I say support system, I mean a support system without any pretense of suicide. When I say support system, I mean family in itself. I think the void of family is the void of a support system. The void of community, friends,
Yeah.
church, football, activities, socializing is a void of a support system.
Yeah.
Because all of these things, whether it be our families, whether it be our teammates on a sports team or organization that we're in, friends, socialization, like co-workers, all of these things create a support system for us as human beings. You feel what I'm saying? Emotional support system, mental support system, you know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of times we have individuals who, when they feel something's wrong, they pull themselves back from that support system. You feel what I'm saying? But I think the more the support system is there in place, like it makes it so that it's more visible for a child who's going to pull back, because then you see the change. You feel me? But we live in a society today where the parent is off doing this, the kid is off doing this.
Everyone's so busy.
Nobody's paying attention. Like we don't have those bonds like we did in the past, where family was family and
eating at the dinner table.
Yeah, the neighborhood was the neighborhood. Like everybody took a vested interest in your child, making sure he was okay. And you understand what I'm trying to say? And then social media makes it even worse, because they're befriending individuals who they have no idea who they are. And their socialization skills go to an all-time low, because they're the man on the internet, but they go to school and they don't know how to socialize with people. Right. So if you don't know how to become somebody's friend, then that's void of a support system again. You understand what I'm trying to say? Where you don't have anybody to turn to if you're dealing with some type of issue. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, so that's the same thing with the whole bullying thing going on as well.
Absolutely. That plays in it too.
Yeah, I feel like everything does start at home and around you, and you can't help the people who grow up in situations that are like not. I'm not saying like not that they're not normal, but that they can't get away from. You can't.
So with your parents or your siblings and stuff like that,
or the environment you're growing up in. Like you can't help how that kid is growing up in that environment that's not as supportive. And I don't want to put full blame on the parents either, because like I said, like we're living in a society where it costs so much to live, and like we're just so busy just trying to make it, and I feel like that's the void that's missing in the homes too, because both parents are working, and both parents are working harder and longer,
Yeah, but I think like ultimately,
and you're right with the social networking and having their own phones and computers and all that. Yeah, like that plays a big part as well.
Yeah, but I think ultimately, like even with the parents working, like we make time to go to work. We should make time for our children. We should make time to make sure that our children are in a healthy mind state, in a healthy environment, taking in healthy things, because it's a combination of a lack of our attention as parents and other individuals in their lives who play a positive role, and the influx of negative things, whether it be via the internet, television, the telephone, all these social networking sites. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Other children or beings who
are,
don't have that.
That's what I'm saying. Other children who are taking in that negative stuff too, and they're lacking their parents.
Yeah.
So if you're surrounding yourself, if a child surrounding himself around a bunch of negativity and around a bunch of other children or individuals who lack the same structure that they need to maintain a healthy mind state and healthy environment, then all you doing is breeding negativity. You feel what I'm saying? You can't breed positivity out of just a pool full of negativity, man. It just doesn't work like that. And so, like, that child is getting lost in that pool. And at some point in time, the parent has to step in and say, you know what? No. You have to set boundaries and say, you know what? This is not right. This is not. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. You feel what I'm saying? Bring you back into the fold of the family where we're doing positive things. We're doing this, and so that they're being influenced by that positivity. You feel what I'm saying? And taken away from.
Yeah, but saying no a lot, I feel like it's more just like talking about situations and saying no, cause saying no a lot without the kid understanding why no, like why are you telling me no? It's kind of.
I get that. You're right.
It's not gonna help. To me, it's gonna make the kid feel as though like they can't do anything and they're not enough and they're not doing enough and they do everything wrong. So it's more of having a discussion than reprimanding them all the time for everything they do.
I agree. And see, I'm a firm believer, like I tell my son all the time, I can sit there and I know for children, you can sit there and tell a child what not to do all the time. But then the child's going to look at you stupid and say, well, I know you telling me what not to do, but what should I do? You're not giving them an alternative. So you can tell them, no, this is wrong. You shouldn't do this. But let me give you something else to do. Let me replace what you're doing that I know is not healthy for you with something positive. You feel what I'm saying? So if the kid has nothing to do but they sitting on the internet all day, take them out of that environment that they have no monitorization. They can do what they want to do on the internet, and nobody's no parents are watching them. Take them out of that environment and put them in football or put them into this where they're being productive and they're being around children who are being productive, where the parents are involved into it. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like a replacement.
I understand that.
It's not just saying no. It's saying.
And I understand that, and to me, that's still difficult for a lot of parents to do.
I agree, but but it's a sacrifice, man. I mean, your children are a sacrifice.
But no, what I'm saying, I believe that it should be done, but I'm just also saying that it's difficult to do.
Yeah, I agree.
And I do feel like taking trips or going out, to eat one-on-one with the child, like stuff like that. Like if you can't afford or don't have the time to put them in sports, that one-on-one time is very, very important. Like my son came to me once when we had our one-on-one time, and it helped a lot. It helped him a lot, and it helped me a lot, in understanding why he really reacts to certain things, Oh, and I wanted to discuss that, I also went through my situations where I wanted to end my life but never actually carried out the act because I feel like I'm too coward to. But when I go through not that I go through it often, but it's like life is hard most of the time, and sometimes you just don't know what direction like you should go in. I think what grounded me a lot was not only that my parents always supported me, but I feel like the faith I had in myself and in God, knowing, and my faith really helped because I always got through any issue that I went through. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of people go through that because.
I mean, depression and anxiety is something that every human being deals with. Mm-hmm. It's just different percentages, different levels of it. You know what I'm saying? Like we as especially in America, man, like we have to deal with stresses on a daily basis from the time you wake up in the morning to driving in traffic to work, to actually working, to dealing with the coworkers at work. You feel what I'm saying? To dealing with the clients that you may have to be in contact with, to dealing with your bosses and managers, to getting back home. You know what I'm saying? Like to bills and money. Everything is a stress. It's just everybody has different ways of
Dealing with
processing those stresses. And some people, and it's not to blame anybody. Some people, they take them a little harder than others, and because of that, that changes and determines the level of anxiety or stress or depression that you experience in life. And it doesn't mean that you, after you have it once, it's like a disease that stays with you. It's just, people go through highs and lows in life, and that's just part of life, man. But the important thing is to have faith, just like you said. Like you said, that your faith in yourself and in your God, helped you through that. But I think
And if you need a group,
I want you to explain, because I'm listening to you, but I'm trying to listen to you from a viewer standpoint. And like, I want you to explain, when you say faith in yourself, like, explain what faith in yourself, like, what do you mean by that? How did that help you? Because people hear it as a cliche a lot of times, like, oh, faith in God. Like, what is faith in God? How did that help you?
well, I feel like I've always known what I wanted to do. I've always had goals. Like, I was really big at journaling and writing down goals and setting goals for myself. And when, like, certain goals didn't happen for me, I took that as a setback, and made me really depressed. And you invest money, you invest time, you invest energy in trying to achieve something that at that moment may not, doesn't look like it's working out for you. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like I'm going through it right now. You know what I'm saying? But I think what's important is to keep going and praying. Like I'm not big on religion, but I'm big on spirit. I'm really big on that spirit always being with me. And I told the spirit, like, I want to kill myself. I don't want to live. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I talked to the spirit, and it's all about knowing yourself and knowing your soul and knowing, like, the voice in your head. It's not always like the crazy voice. It's always that voice in your head that says, no, keep going, do this. Like, if this don't work for you, then try this. So I feel like I always got over my issues by doing something else. Like crossing off another goal, or keeping myself busy, or surrounding myself with people like I love, or doing something that, I've always wanted to do, or, like stuff like that kind of got me through that particular situation.
Yeah. So, like, basically what I hear you saying is, like, you believed in yourself. Like, right. you kept the faith in yourself. Like, you constantly believe that you can continue on, that you can do it, that you can, you know what I mean? So ultimately that was a thought, because, and I'm not telling you how you feel, but that was a thought because you never gave up on yourself.
Right.
You might have gave up in your mind, but like spiritually, you never gave up. And so I think if we take anything away from it, like, because I want to give something tangible, for people out here who are dealing with stuff. You know what I mean?
For instance, this guy is killing total strangers over a girl who doesn't want him. Like, to me that just, it's like, that's not loving yourself. Like, if someone doesn't want you or doesn't love you, then, and I know it hurts. Like, I've been there. I've been involved in situations where, you give your all to someone and you're just not receiving it. Like, I've been there. Everyone goes through that situation. But you have to know that there's always something better out there. There's always someone who will love you. You have to know that. And it's really just loving and knowing yourself at the end of the day. Yeah. And that's it's hard to do once you're in that state of mind.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, that's really what it is.
I think it's important to keep it's important to keep people around you that care about you. Keep people around you who you can be totally honest with and transparent with. You know, they love you enough not to judge you. You know, whether it be through your church or through your mosque, if it be friends,
But honesty
family.
is good too. Like,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
people
Honest.
actually tell you.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like it is.
Like you're not afraid to tell them the truth because
And
you're not scared for them to.
constructive criticism.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but that's not judging. That's just constructive criticism or good advice. But I think it's important to keep that support system around. You know, because I think all of these things build. You know, socialization builds confidence. Bottom line.
You think so?
Yeah, in order for you to, in order for you to,
yeah, you're right.
in order for you to know who you are, you have to know other people.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you know how other people tick, it kind of puts a mirror up to yourself to see how you tick. Right. And so in the process, you're learning about yourself by learning other people. Yeah, meeting and talking to other people. And in the process, like you see other people's strengths and weaknesses, and you realize that they're human just like I'm human. And so in that sense, it kind of builds your own confidence to say, well, if that person can do this, I can do this. So it's like something to measure yourself up against. You feel what I'm saying? Yep. And so I think socialization is a way to build confidence. I used to coach football, and I used to watch how kids would come onto the field, in the beginning of the season, and they don't want to talk. They mumbling under their breath. You feel what I'm saying? They scared to get up off the bench and go into the field, even though they like 5, 6, 7-year-olds. But we can watch.
Sounds normal, but go ahead. No.
What I'm saying is, it is normal in a sense, but we watch how they transform. Over a period of weeks or a month or 2 months, like these kids have they're coming on the field with no confidence whatsoever, but the camaraderie of the teammates, the motivation of the coaches, and the support system that they have for their teammates, it builds confidence in them. And that confidence they might take. I'm not just using sports as the only example, because there's other facets of building confidence, but they take that confidence off the field and they take it to the classroom with them. They take it home with them in their families. You feel what I'm saying? And they act out, in a more of a confident fashion. And so I think like different things where you have that support system around socialization is a thing that boosts and builds confidence in individuals. And it's not a lot of that. You're right. The lack of men in households is taking away confidence, especially from young boys. You feel what I'm saying? Taking away the confidence from young men. You feel what I'm saying? And so, and that's when you have lack of confidence and low self-esteem. Like these are probably like the basic principles or the basic characteristics of every individual who's committed suicide has been dealing with. Lack of self-esteem, low insecurity, low confidence levels. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because when you don't love yourself enough, if you love yourself that much, you wouldn't take your own life. You loved yourself that much. That's why you kept pushing on. Or you love yourself enough. That's why you kept pushing on. You understand what I'm trying to say? But when you get to that level that like these individuals are doing,
I think what because at that point I only had side. I think what I had told myself was, when I mentioned about the young lady who killed herself, she had 2 boys. Yeah. And just the thought of her kids waking up to finding their mother hung in the bathroom like that, that's the thought I don't want to ever happen to my child or any family member. Like, that's what I don't want. That's why they didn't, really commit the act. Because not only do I love myself, but I love other people, the people around me enough to not deal with
to put pain. Them through that.
Yeah, to put them through that pain. And that horrific imagery. You know what I'm saying?
It's traumatic, man. Definitely. Yeah, that's a terrible thing. But we pray that all those out there who that are dealing with issues that you feel as though they may be a little overwhelming, that you might not be able to deal with. we encourage everybody out there to reach out to somebody that you trust.
What if they don't?
What do you mean?
Like, what if they can't? What if they don't have that person?
Well, if you don't feel like you have somebody to reach out to that you trust, reach out to us.
Reach out to us, or
or
go.
there's professionals.
I feel like, and this works. Get on your knees and just say, what do I need to do? How do I get through this? I need to move forward. I need to get over it. Like, get on your knees and just talk. You don't have to, if you're not into God or into a spiritual being, just speak it out loud, and then that answer or the spirit in you will let you know what you need to do.
Yeah. And also go seek a professional if you feel like that you at your wit's end. There's 1-800 numbers, hotlines. You could there's places you can go to talk to people. And one of the main things that I would advise people out here to understand that please don't take it as an embarrassment. Don't take it as something to be shameful of, that you're dealing with things and you feel like this, because I don't think anybody out here would look down at an individual.
Everybody is going through something.
Exactly.
Always.
We all go through our share of issues.
And don't take other people's lives. Like, that's not the answer at all.
Yeah,
you can't punish someone just because you feel like
that's definitely not.
You're going through something.
Okay, so we're gonna sum that topic up on suicide, and we just hope that you guys out there in need of help will be able to reach out to somebody in your neighborhood and community. And if you can't, feel free to drop us an email. We'd be more than willing to give you guys some advice or conversate and talk, about issues or whatever it is you guys are dealing with. But right now, we wanted to shoot over to an email that was sent to us by a listener in regards to a relationship. So go ahead, baby, just read the email and we'll get into it.
Okay, so this email is from an Ashley, and the question is, should you ever get back into a relationship with an ex or a friendship with an ex if it ended badly? And in her email, she explains 7 years ago, she started dating a friend that she's known since high school against her better judgment because he had always been a Rolling Stone. He was going through a rough time but convinced her to give him a fair chance. Hesitantly, she did. After a few years of great friendship, conversation, great personal and professional advice given, meeting some of his family and friends, the relationship turned ugly fast. The final straw was when she found out his ex and mother of his 2 oldest daughters was pregnant for him. Although they were not in a public relationship at the time and had been on the last minute of the relationship, it was still disappointing and disrespectful. She gave him her 50 cents on the situation and never looked back. Over the next few months, they would exchange disturbing text messages, and she finally had it. She told him she wasn't going back and forth with him or try to diminish him or herself. Her taking the friendship to the next level was not a good idea at all. She told him that. And she also told him that she wanted to move on and forget any of it had happened, including him. She saw him and they didn't speak. She saw him 4 hours away from their hometown in Houston, Texas, and they didn't speak. She saw him in the mall and they didn't speak. Years went by, 3 or 4 years to be exact, they didn't speak. She prayed about it and said if he ever came to me straight out of the gate with an apology, she would speak to him and forgive him only then. She thought it was crazy for 2 friends to be in such a childish, unnecessary situation, all because one person wanted to be an ass. Well, fast forward to about 6 months ago, she was visiting her hometown and ran into him coming out of the store. As usual, she looked up, noticed him, and kept going, like he was a ghost. That had been their relationship for the past 4 years. Except this time, he started screaming, "I come in peace. I'm sorry. Please stop. I apologize." She kept going because she was more shocked and embarrassed than anything. She was hoping he wasn't talking to her or that he would stop and turn around and go about his business. He did not. He followed her to the front of the store and asked if he could please talk to her, and she agreed. Or she said she agreed because if he would have embarrassed her in the store, she would probably need bail money, and she had to catch the flight the next day. So he apologized, and he didn't even remember how they ended up there. Said he didn't want to think about it long enough to discuss and if she would forgive him. Excuse me. She said she would because that's what we're supposed to do, but in that moment she was fuming and boiling with anger. Not at the apology, but the lack of acceptance for what he had done. She wasn't sure if he didn't want to get in, if he wouldn't, she wasn't sure if she wanted to get into it because it was a quick chat of how the kids, how's the family, do you live here, etc. The conversation lasted 10 to 15 minutes, and then they went their separate ways, agreeing to possibly speak next time they saw each other. She goes into the store and comes out. As she was getting into her car, she noticed him pull up on the side of her. She was thinking, what the hell? He asked her to take his number in case she decided she wanted to call him. And she said, no thanks, closed the door and drove off. 6 months later, she's thought about him ever since their encounter every week. Should she have taken the number? Should she have tried to repair the 10-year friendship? Is he even worth the time, let alone friendship and absolute forgiveness? Should she ask his cousin to give her a call? Should she wait until she saw him again to say more? Should she just let him go and take his apology and move on? How long does it really take to get over someone? And if she clearly can't, what do you think that means? Help. What do I do? Or what does she do? P.S. I don't want to be in a relationship with him ever again, but I would like my friend back if that's even possible. So what do you think?
Well, I know for one, I know what you need to do. You need to drink some of this water, man, because that's what you need to do. But what do I think? I mean, wow. I mean, first of all, it's a long period of time to be like she's like she's emotionally invested in dude, whether it be positive or negative thing. But I think the thing that stands out to me more than anything else is in the beginning of her email, she said that he is known to be a Rolling Stone, and she went against her better judgment in dealing with him in the first place. And I think her suspicions came to be true when she found out that dude ended up having a baby by, his ex or whatever. And so just because of that, I feel like, and it's easier said than done, but I feel like she should just cut all ties with dude, because I just feel like
he doesn't respect her enough, one.
Yeah, exactly.
To have a relationship with her and then end up with another baby with his ex. So exactly. Obviously, that's not his ex. Obviously, him and his kid's mother are still involved.
Yeah, definitely.
Another thing, too, is that you mentioned that you prayed about it, and in your prayer, you said if he came to you, you'll forgive him. And that's exactly what he did. So I feel like, yes, forgive him, but move on. You prayed about what you want wanted to happen, and that's what happened. And I feel like there's nothing else good can come out of this relationship.
I feel like you should forgive him for yourself, not so much for his sake, but do it for yourself so that you can move on. You know what I mean? And forgive yourself for putting yourself through this relationship with this dude, because it just doesn't sound like he, you know,
It's meant for you.
is meant for you. And I think that you should, like, at some point in time, you have to understand and realize your own worth, and you have to ask yourself, like, is are you worth more than dealing with an individual who's going to put you through these type of changes? Now, everybody's prone to make mistakes, and I think everybody is deserving of a second chance. But in certain circumstances, when you're dealing with matters at the heart, and people take your heart and they just toss it against the wall,
granted,
yeah, and they don't really respect it, I think, like, that's a sure sign, a blatant sign that, like, dude ain't for you, man. Like, you just need to cut ties with him, and maybe you need to move, because it seems like over the years you've been running into him a lot. Like, you need to move to another city or another part of town where you disassociate yourself with his friends and his family and all that type of stuff.
Well, I feel like you did the right thing by not taking his number. 1, 2, even though you claim you have a 10-year friendship, I wouldn't necessarily, yeah, you probably had conversation with him and he gave you good advice, but a friend wouldn't betray you. A friend wouldn't accept you as, although you said you wasn't going public with your relationship, but, you guys came up with the conclusion that you're in some type of relationship, and he stepped out of that relationship when he made another baby,
basically,
with his girl. Let's be real, because that's what it really is.
Yeah, you don't have a baby. You don't have a baby, just out the blue. It's just that was a relationship taking place outside of your relationship.
So no, don't ask his cousin to contact you, and I feel like you said everything you needed to say when you saw him. You forgave him. You gave him your 15 minutes of conversation, and that should be the end of it. And I know you guys ignored each other in passing, but now that you've forgiven him and moved on, you could be cordial. You could say hi now. You don't think so?
Nah, honestly, the only reason I say that because you can't be friends with somebody that you emotionally have ties to, because you only complicating the situation. It's more than just being friends. So until you at a space where you feel like, you don't want nothing to do with him romantically or any type of relationship, then I feel like you can come back and say you can be a friend.
Well, that's what, and then you say you don't want to be in a relationship with him ever again. So it's kind of like, what is the point then?
I think she does want to be in a relationship with him. Honestly, because she wouldn't ask that question if she didn't. But I think that right at this point in time, it's not a good idea to be friends with him. I think you should cut all ties, cut all communication, and just work on yourself. Love yourself. Know your worth. Go find individuals, not just necessarily a male, but other people and friends around you who appreciate you for who you are, so they can build up your self-esteem and your confidence to go out here and accomplish things for your life, and forget all about them. And then if you run across them when you're at a better place in your life and you decide you want to be friends, you'll be in control of that friendship and that situation, and you won't be emotionally distracted. Put it like that.
Really good advice.
Thanks, I know.
Thanks, I know. Jeez.
But I just feel, and I hope the best for you, man. Just know that you're worth more than that type of situation, man. If a dude, honestly, and I'm coming from a male perspective, if a dude really cares about you, he's not gonna take your heart for granted like that. He's not gonna disrespect you like that. Like, dudes make mistakes, but that's just like, what, I really don't care about her
I don't think that was a mistake, honestly. It just seems
Well,
like
I
he
mean,
was in a relationship with
no,
someone
I
else
don't think it was a mistake either.
and wanted it. I feel like in this situation, she was a side friend or a side girl for him.
yeah, possibly. But I mean, either way you look at it,
Forget for him to and I understand about him not acknowledging what he's done or he forgot.
he didn't forget.
He didn't forget because he got that kid walking around the house.
Exactly, reminds him every day.
So he didn't forget. He just doesn't care enough.
And you know what? Sometimes dudes don't know where he sounds like he's confused himself. He don't know what he wants or where he's going to be at.
Right.
And so if you want to have a commitment with somebody, whether it be in a relationship or a friendship, you know people need to be upfront about what they want. And so if he's telling you he wants you, he really doesn't want you, and because he's behind your back with some other woman, so he's confused about what he wants. You don't need somebody in your life that's confused. You need somebody who knows what they want, and if it's you, then he's gonna make that decision and commit to you, whether it be a relationship, marriage, whatever. But at this point, it sounds like he's really confused and he don't know what he wants. You know what I'm saying? So I would leave that on the curb, right where that parking lot where you saw him. I would leave that right there. And don't continue no further with it, man.
And we could end it with that.
We can end it with that. You know what
I
I mean?
I appreciate everyone tuning in. Look out for podcast 7.
Yeah, definitely that, man.
Thank you for all your love and support. And please share on all your social networks. Please comment. Please send in emails. We love to hear from you.
So definitely, man. But we appreciate the time, and we're gonna check it out of here. And we want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Girls Rep Tees.
www.girlsrep.com.
Girls Rep Tees.
No, girlsrep.com.
I'm sorry, girlsrep.com. Go out there and check out the fresh, dope tees. You know what I mean? I'm rocking my anti-government shirt tee right now. You know what I'm saying? Looking fresh and everything. So go out there and check them out. You know what I mean? Support. You know what I mean? And we'll get back with you guys on the next podcast. Peace.